Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good very early morning, ladies and gentlemen, here in Santa Clara, California. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening if you're joining us out there on SYS-CON TV across the World Wide Web. Here we are, day 2 of 7th Cloud Expo Silicon Valley, which is where it all began. So 7 times we've already run this. East Coast, West Coast, Europe. Getting bigger each time. Intel are joining us this morning very bravely to start the day. Keynotes we have coming up. We have general sessions galore. As usual, we have the 8 tracks afterwards. This is a brutal 12-hour day of cloud computing. So I hope you're up for it. We'll soon see by the end who can stay the course. But let's kick straight off because I like this title. Next Cloud on the Horizon. Come along, please, gentlemen. Let's give it up for Boyd Davis.
Thank you, and good morning. And there's a couple of seats left here in the front if you guys in the back don't want to stand. If I'd have known it was going to be like this, I might have rooted for the Rangers last night, or at least hope to have the Expo in Texas because they're probably all in bed early last night, unlike many of your colleagues who might have been out a little bit late last night celebrating the Giants' victory. But we're going to talk in the next couple of minutes about... I'll recap for you a major announcement that Intel made last week relative to our vision, our strategy around cloud computing, and the actions we're going to take to try to accelerate the next phase of computing. But I'd like to start off this morning with a little video to help set it up.
Today, a quarter of the world's population, 1.5 billion people, connect to the Internet. Over the next 5 years, there will be over 10 billion client devices and another billion users accessing hundreds of thousands of Internet services, all competing for limited IT resources that will likely choke traditional infrastructures without a radically simpler, more secure, and more efficient way of doing things. Cloud computing offers that potential. New approaches to IT automation and the ability to rapidly scale computing resources offer IT organizations the promise to swiftly respond to the demands of users in a new, cost-effective manner. But there are challenges to overcome. There are real limitations in power, space, capacity, and bandwidth in today's data centers. There is also risk that closed proprietary cloud computing architectures will stifle innovation. Today, IT organizations struggle to share data between providers, to allocate resources automatically, and to ensure that the cloud-based applications maximize user productivity regardless of the device being used. Intel's vision is a multi-year evolution to deliver cloud-based architectures that enable federated, automated, and client-aware cloud services. No longer will clouds be constrained by proprietary protocols. Interoperable solutions that embrace standards will prevail. Visualize. Enterprises easily moving data and sharing services between private clouds and public cloud providers when they need it. Resources that are dynamically allocated and automatically optimized for maximum utilization and power efficiency. End-user devices that are automatically recognized by cloud services and receive cloud-based applications in the most optimal fashion. The foundation for this vision and the future of cloud computing will be defined by an open approach that delivers best-of-breed technologies combined with flexibility and choice from data center to client. In fact, global IT technologists are demanding cloud infrastructures that are open and interoperable. To turn this vision into reality, Intel has brought together a broad network of leading hardware and solution providers to rapidly build and enhance cloud solutions that are interoperable, multi-vendor, and embrace standards. These solutions promise to keep your data secure and safe, make your data center more energy efficient, and simplify the manageability of your cloud infrastructure while optimizing application delivery. Intel has a rich history of engaging the ecosystem and leading IT transitions. From defining open standards for networking, wireless, and connecting devices to your PC, to bringing volume economics to servers. The cloud brings forward the next major inflection for IT. And as a catalyst for change, Intel will rally the industry behind a vision that fulfills the cloud's true potential.
So where are we in relation to the development of the cloud? I think this statistic is stunning. that in the entire history of the Internet, in the last 10, 15 years ago or so, through 2009, the total amount of Internet traffic was around 150 exabytes. And just this year, in 1 year, in 2010, we're going to more than double that. And I think that underscores the challenge, the need, the requirement for cloud computing infrastructure for both public and private use. Is we are in a phase where the demands of the workload on the infrastructure will outpace the traditional means of delivering IT. Now, one of the important things you always have to do around cloud, it's better now than it probably was a year ago, is do a little bit of definitions and make sure we're talking about the same thing. Because in Intel, we're very passionate about cloud computing. We're investing a lot in it. We're pushing it forward as hard as we can, because we fundamentally believe it's a shift in compute architecture. Much like the transition from mainframes to client-server to the first phase of the Internet, cloud computing is the next major architectural shift. And the architectural shift drives gains both in efficiency, which is very important, and also for scale, to drive a significant amount more flexibility and capability into IT. Now, one of the key distinctions I think is made around cloud is people often think of cloud as simply being a means of accessing IT services, purchasing applications or services over the Internet. And while cloud computing at an architecture level enables new business models, it's not, in my mind or in our mind, synonymous with a new business model. And in fact, a lot of the investment, a lot of the effort is going to be made for people driving the benefits of a cloud architecture for their own organization's use, a private cloud. And private clouds and public clouds are both, from an architecture perspective, awfully similar. It turns out that in many organizations, having a multi-tenant environment with HR and manufacturing is just as tough as having a multi-tenant environment with two different companies. So we're talking about an architecture shift. And the challenges get more significant. As I highlighted, cloud computing is not so much about doing what we're doing today a lot more efficiently or cheaply, although that's possible to do. Cloud computing is fundamentally about handling the challenges of scale. As you attract 1 billion more users to the Internet, 15 billion different devices connected to the Internet, and you see the rate of traffic growth growing significantly. And you can ask the question, are we ready? Well, clearly we're more ready now than we were just a few years ago. And in fact, since the introduction of the original 4004 microprocessor, the first microprocessor in the world, we've seen an improvement of speed 5,000 times in just a few decades. And even in the past couple of years, we introduced the Xeon 5500, the Nehalem processor, in the early part of 2009. It was the most significant product introduction we had in our history of providing technologies for the data center. And that drove a dramatic increase in performance per watt, and a significant amount of flexibility relative to running different workloads. So we've made a tremendous amount of progress. We built virtualization into silicon. We built security into silicon. We've delivered significant gains in performance, energy efficiency, and in adaptability to the workloads. But, there's a big but, clearly the infrastructure is not ready for the demands of scale that we see moving forward. And our message on cloud computing at Intel is that there is no simple fix for the challenges that we face collectively as an industry. It's tempting in our business to simply say, buy product A or service B, and all your cloud problems are solved. You'll get cloud, you'll get all the benefits of cloud computing right away simply by buying a product today. And at Intel, we're not really there. We really believe that the promise of cloud computing is very significant, and it's important not to trivialize it by indicating it's doable today, because I think most people in IT know that the idea of a fully automated, self-service, multi-tenant, elastic environment is a promise, particularly one that can be federated with other cloud services, is a promise that is some number of years away. And challenges relative to security, significant challenges relative to scale and efficiency still face us. So Intel has articulated a vision for Cloud 2015. 2015 is soon enough to create a sense of urgency, but far enough out so that we can make meaningful progress against the challenges that we all face. And we believe the cloud of 2015 is going to be federated, that you're going to be able to seamlessly share resources across public and private clouds. And secure multi-tenancy and elasticity will be a reality for the average IT service. We believe that the cloud of 2015 will be fully automated and no longer require manual intervention for many of the common tasks that IT performs today relative to provisioning, deploying, and maintaining a service. And then finally, we believe the cloud can, should, and will be client-aware. it's very easy or tempting to have cloud computing services that really target a lowest common denominator relative to the user experience. It's actually easier to architect it that way. And yet, we have significant capabilities that are going to exist in people's smartphones, tablets, vehicles, televisions, in addition to a continued growth in netbook and notebook PCs around the world. And each of those experiences is going to be very different for the user from either a consumer standpoint or a business productivity standpoint. And it's important that the cloud service can scale to take advantage of the capabilities of the local device relative to screen size, user interfaces, computational performance, bandwidth, and so forth. And that those cloud services then become adaptable to have the richest or most productive user experience possible. So that's our vision for the cloud: federated, automated, and client-aware. Now, what's our role in this? Intel is a technology provider. We are a building block provider. I like to say that we are the only major participant in cloud computing that has absolutely no desire whatsoever to solve your business problem. We are a technology company. Now, it's our hope and our aspiration that our building blocks are important foundations for customers in our ecosystem that will end up solving the end user's business problem. But our role is a little bit unique. And because of our unique role, we have a track record of bringing the industry together. Clearly in industry standards, classic industry standards like USB or PCI or even Ethernet, we played a significant role. But it goes beyond that. We believe we can play a role in catalyzing the ecosystem to come together to address these challenges in an accelerated fashion. Maybe the best analogy we could have is wireless computing for notebooks, 802.11 or Wi-Fi. You know, back in 2002, the penetration of Wi-Fi radios on notebooks was in low single digits, and it looked like it was going to take a decade to penetrate notebooks completely because we had the classic chicken and egg syndrome where the wireless radios were reasonably expensive. There weren't enough hotspots to use them in. Because there weren't enough hotspots to use them in, there was no incentive to drive the volume on the radios to drive the prices down. And it was actually notoriously difficult back in the early part of this decade to connect to a wireless hotspot. So Intel in 2003 launched the Centrino technology to integrate wireless and processors in notebooks. We went off and invested heavily with service providers to create a footprint of hotspots around the world and sent our engineers around the globe, thousands of engineers driving thousands of hotspots to verify them for user experience. Within 3 short years, the wireless penetration in notebooks was at 90%. A dramatic acceleration of the fastest forecast that you could have seen at the start of this ramp. Now, you can look at that and say, wow, wireless on notebooks is so compelling. It's obvious. It was inevitable that wireless would enter notebooks over some period of time. And Intel did not play a role in inventing wireless or a significant role. But in the end, what we were able to do is catalyze the ecosystem, bring out technologies based on standards, and catalyze an ecosystem to accelerate what was an inevitable outcome. We believe we can do the same thing in cloud computing. The inevitable outcome for cloud computing is that we will have open, interoperable clouds that are federated, automated, and client-aware. That is beyond Intel. It is a natural outcome. It is what customers will drive for. And ultimately in our business, customers always win. They always win eventually. Our goal is to work with the ecosystem, the end users, the providers of technology, and accelerate this outcome so that we get the benefits faster. And it's to that end that we were happy to work with a number of leading IT shops over the last few months to help them form a group called the Open Data Center Alliance, which was introduced last week. This is an alliance exclusively of end-user IT companies. Intel is a technical advisor who helped in the formation of the group and will help foster the future requirements. And what I'd like to do is have you hear a little bit about the Open Data Center Alliance from the members themselves.
So the challenges we have in our data centers, they're numerous, and they're all different levels of the technology stack.
Working with the customer because they're our partner, what do they need to keep everything moving in the right direction?
Most of these companies are looking to move fast and yet cut costs at the same time.
Most firms are facing the same challenges: power management, security, trusted computing, vendor lock-in.
Green IT, scalability, performance, costs.
I think those are the hot buttons.
When you think about what everybody wants the cloud to be, It can't be that until all of the requirements are pulled together.
It's a very complex environment, and it's getting more complex, not less. We cannot continue managing that environment in the current way. We have to do something radically different. The Open Data Center Alliance allows firms like UBS to be able to choose different solutions without vendor lock-in.
This is the CIOs themselves gathering together to talk about what does the cloud need to do.
No one corporation has all the answers. That's what an alliance is about.
The roadmap is really about future planning, and that's used to drive decision-making. It's not just an individual technology, and that's really the goal of this, is to actually deliver that whole stack, to deliver that business value.
So you have a working group with other subgroups underneath, such as infrastructure, services, management, government, security.
And tying all these things together, that's really why we're buying these products and services.
From a user standpoint, that allows you to talk in different infrastructures to ensure that you are meeting certain security requirements and that you're all living together in the same ecosystem.
The more that the interoperability begins to exist, then is when you can really see the cloud of the future. I think it could be done or we wouldn't be here.
So this is really a remarkable group of companies. You can see the steering committee up there, a list comprising companies from around industries and around the globe who have gotten together and said, hey, we really want to accelerate the reality of an interoperable open cloud and address these challenges relative to security and scale and efficiency. And the Open Data Center Alliance is committed that they will publish a list of requirements for about 19 capabilities or usage models that they've prioritized. And the goal of the Alliance and the specific output will be these requirements documents that will allow the vendor community to figure out how to deliver solutions that fit the needs as specified by a collection of end users. And this group is over 70 companies, now growing by the day now that they're announced, and anybody in the room that's part of an organization that's interested in joining can go to OpenDataCenterAlliance.org if you're interested in participating and joining either as a contributor or even an adopter to get access to the specifications in their draft form and be able to provide inputs to them. So we're very excited about the Open Data Center Alliance. We're very proud of our role in helping to bring it together as an advisor. And this kind of shows our basic strategy for how we move things forward. The first thing we do is really understand how the technology will get used, because we're removed. We're lower in the solution stack, and we're removed from the delivery of the solution. So it's very important for us, as we define the base technology, to understand the usage models and understand those requirements. And we're doing more and more of that at a data center level as we see Intel architecture and the Xeon processor increasingly pervasive, not only in servers and storage, but moving forward, we'll see more and more Xeon in network infrastructure. And driving this convergence at a platform level of having a common architecture for the key building blocks of a data center is incredibly powerful in driving to the elasticity and automation required for cloud computing. The second thing we do is we build those capabilities into products. I referenced earlier that we were the first company to put virtualization technology into an x86 chip. We have continued to enhance that with I/O virtualization, with security enhancements, with energy automation technologies. We're doing a lot of this to build more capabilities beyond just traditional raw performance and cores into the underlying microprocessor. And then finally, we have a role of bringing solutions together to take advantage of that technology. It's no longer possible to simply have great performance right out of the box with a raw technology. It requires a degree of integration. And that's why we're proud last week to have announced a significant enhancement to the Intel Cloud Builders program. The Intel Cloud Builders program is a reference architecture program bringing together hardware and software providers to figure out how to take advantage of the underlying technology consistent with the principles of the open data center. You know, when you take a look at our vision, it is not unique to Intel. When you take a look at the Open Data Center Alliance, it is by definition not unique to Intel. And in fact, it's a completely vendor-neutral organization that gives Intel no particular advantage. But it does give us an insight into the requirements that helps us then work to build better technologies and integrate those technologies in reference architectures. If you could take a look at the list of people who have announced reference architectures as part of the Cloud Builders program, it's a veritable who's who of the technology industry in the cloud. Almost all of the major providers, in addition to some critical new technology providers that are providing something either disruptive or breakthrough from a technology perspective, and you can see this. And in fact, not only do we have reference architectures, we're working very closely with the company you'll hear from next, Adaptivity, to turn those reference architectures into specific blueprints. And if you go to the Cloud Builders website, you have the access either to a reference architecture that you can customize yourself or take advantage of that Adaptivity solution that I'm sure you'll hear about more in a minute. But like we have so far, I'd like to have you hear directly from some of the providers of the Cloud Builders solutions themselves.
Setting up a private cloud can be a daunting task. Getting the right hardware, software, and management all together, getting it sized for your environment can be a real challenge.
How do you manage these applications when they are in the cloud? How do you maintain the kinds of security and control over your applications that you need?
Customers benefit from transitioning to cloud solutions for economic reasons. Cloud solutions provide a great deal more agility than traditional approaches.
Cloud is a better way to do what I've done in the past, but also enabling me to do things for tomorrow.
Cloud computing is that next transition. With Intel, our server partners, storage partners, and ISVs, we're going to enable our customers to move to that next generation platform.
We believe that one of the core tenets of a cloud is it has to be open.
A very important aspect of the cloud is the fact that we need interoperability.
And you need standards at multiple levels to accomplish that, because our customers want efficiency, they want control, but they also want choice.
Clients are looking to adapt to changing requirements. With open standards, what they can do is they can build that private cloud environment, and then they have the flexibility to get what they need not only today, but into the future.
One key technology for cloud computing is obviously that of virtualization.
Security is fundamental to the acceptance and the evolution of the cloud. It's probably the biggest concern that CIOs have today of moving to the cloud.
IT has just gotten too complex. Data center simplification allows for not just lower cost in terms of administrative or management overhead, but also allows customers to be able to retune their data center to respond to different types of requirements.
Citrix and Intel are partnered to deliver secure, open, automated, and efficient cloud infrastructure that enables client and user-aware delivery of desktops and applications.
You need to have an open infrastructure. You just need to have a cloud infrastructure that's really capable, that provides a complete end-to-end solution that encompasses the security, SLA, and other concerns that you need to support a real end-to-end solution.
Cloud Builder to me represents an important industry initiative to educate customers and to put real technology in their hands.
What the Cloud Builder program enables VMware to do is to go to our customers with a set of reference architectures that have been pre-tested, assembled in the lab, and we know exactly how it is going to work, and therefore how exactly customers should set it up for optimum results.
HP is a proud member of the Intel Cloud Builder program. We're collaborating very tightly, particularly from an engineering perspective, where ultimately the end goal is to make it easier for customers to deploy cloud solutions, whether that be in a private or public domain.
Engaging with the Intel Cloud Builders program benefits Microsoft and our mutual customers because we jointly create reference architectures so our customers can get a tried and true solution. So together, we're really about delivering more value to our customers at lower cost over time.
Here it becomes a forum where we can work together and drive a lot of the standards for interoperability that we need in order to evolve the ecosystem.
You know, it's interesting. Many of those companies in the video have significant, fully integrated, might even argue proprietary solutions that they advocate, but all of them also participate in this open, interoperable approach. And both, over time, have a place. And you'll see both technologies emerge. So in conclusion, we have a vision for the cloud in 2015 that is automated, federated, and client-aware. We're working very, very closely to enable the voice of the end user and a unprecedented level of involvement and engagement in defining the requirements for the next generation technology through the Open Data Center Alliance and helping to deliver that in reference architectures through the Cloud Builders program. I hope you have an enjoyable and productive rest of the Cloud Expo. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Intel. Don't anybody move because...